Welcome back to another episode of The John, your daily sports dump, where we plunge in the sports world. We are a sports pipeline for breaking news, game recaps, and the hottest takes in the sports industry. So by taking care of business, let us flush out the details and fill you in on what's happening. So take a seat, get comfortable, and make sure you have plenty of TP. It's time to explode the commode. I'm your host, John, and today I'm going to be giving you my season predictions for the AFC North. Because guys, training camps have officially started, so we are going to start predicting since the NFL season is coming up right upon us. I'm going to give you guys some predictions for my each NFL division, and we're going to start today with the AFC North. First team I want to start with is the Cleveland Browns. I'll start with some of their additions. It's a lot of mediocre guys, as you guys will be able to pick up on it. Kenny Pickett, okay. Deontay Johnson, washed. Joe Flacco was a good quarterback, and now he's iffy. Jerome Baker, DeAndre Carter, Malik Collins, Tevin Jenkins, and that's really those are their big signings. You can consider, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, but the amount of players that they lost last year and how they were still terrible last year, and they expect to be better this year, I think is impressive. They lost Devin Bush, one of their best linebackers. They lost Elijah Moore, one of their best receivers. They lost Jameis Winston, who was their starting quarterback for a good chunk of that year. And I think Kevin Stefanski's a great coach. I like the pick of Shedeur. They have way too many quarterbacks on their roster right now. Deontay Johnson, I could see him having a comeback year with them, but I don't see Kevin Stefanski being able to coach up this team. Their defense is too inconsistent outside of Myles Garrett. Denzel Ward's good, but other than that, you don't really have a great defense around those guys. I don't see them being a competitive team. So I'm going to have them finishing last. And my record prediction, I think, is 3-14, just because of, one, how young they are, how they don't have any sort of superstars on this team. Your starting quarterbacks coming into your quarterbacks that you have are Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett. It is a lot of those guys are question marks. I don't believe in Kenny Pickett. I never did. I didn't like the Steelers drafting him in the first round. I didn't think he was a first round talent. Joe Flacco is an old 40-year-old, so there's not much you can expect with him. And the two guys that you have promising, I like Shedeur Sanders over Dylan Gabriel. I think he's a better player. I think him going in the fifth round is something that he needed. He needed to be humbled. I think he was being fed way too much what he wanted. And I think him going number in the fifth round behind, and then Dylan Gabriel, all the other quarterbacks that everyone expected him to go over, I think that put a new fire in him. And you guys have seen these videos on Instagram of him working and stuff. And I think he may have a great year, but I don't think the Browns as a team will. So I think 3-14 is an accurate record. The next team I want to talk about, if they don't win this division and win the Super Bowl this year, they are wasting one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen's career. I'm talking about the Ravens, if you guys didn't pick up on that already. They signed DeAndre Hopkins. Now, can they finally get a great number 2 receiver with Zay Flowers? I think Zay Flowers, or vice versa. I think Zay Flowers is a great number 2 or a solid number 1. I think he's a very great number 2 option. We'll see if DeAndre Hopkins can be that number 1 option for Lamar Jackson. Because if that is, then you have Lamar, you have Derrick Henry, you have Mark Andrews, you have Isaiah Likely, who I know is hurt right now, but when the season starts, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, DeAndre Hopkins, Zay Flowers, you have Rashad Bateman, you have Derrick Henry, you have all of these great guys who should not be able to be on one offense, and they are. And the Ravens, I think, are going to go 14-3. They also got Jair Alexander because the Packers waived them. So now you have Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, Jair Alexander. So not only is your offense great, your defense is even better too. And you sign Awuzie from the Cowboys this offseason as well. So I don't see how this team cannot get over this hump in the playoffs this year. Derrick Henry comes off another great year. You think as he gets older, he gets worse, and he just proves you wrong day in and day out. I think the Ravens, if they don't win this division, there needs to be some serious soul searching on this team, and I think you may have to trade some of these guys if you're willing that, because you are wasting the prime of Lamar Jackson's career here. He is, I didn't think he was the MVP last year. Obviously he wasn't. I thought it was Joe Burrow, and you guys know how I felt about that. But I think if the Ravens waste this year, it is going to hurt. Like, when you are looking at these great teams, these guys will lose a star. The Ravens' biggest loss / departure was Justin Tucker, who was their kicker. Now, yes, Justin Tucker is an all-time great kicker, and what he did is terrible. But when you're a team and the person, your biggest loss was your kicker, I think that says something about how great you are and how you're able to retain talent with your team. And I think they have to capitalize on that. Losing your kicker as your big loss in the offseason shows how great you are. And I think they need to capitalize on it. And this season, I think, is their season. I don't think they could win the I don't think they will win the Super Bowl, but I think they will be Super Bowl contenders because they haven't shown me enough in the playoffs this year. And Lamar Jackson, you guys know how I feel about him in the postseason. He's not a postseason quarterback. I think when you are a team and you bring back so many key guys and you add DeAndre Hopkins and Jair Alexander, you have to be able to build on that. And the next team is this team. I don't know with the records. I've been so iffy on what I want them to be. Do I think they're going to be 11-6? Do I think they're going to be 10-7? Do I think they're going to be 9-8? I think they're going to be one of those three records. I don't see them being this great. Now, I know Aaron Rodgers has been great, and their offensive additions this offseason have been great. Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith. I love that. I love those additions. You also get Jalen Ramsey on the defensive side of the ball and Darius Slay, where you guys already are a great defensive team. And you know what they're going to bring with Mike Tomlin. They're not going to have a losing season. You know that already with Mike Tomlin. But you guys know how I feel about Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin is a great coach. He doesn't lose, but he doesn't win in the playoffs since he won that one Super Bowl earlier in his career with Big Ben. And I think that's what's going to hurt them again this year. I think they're going to be another borderline playoff team or wild card playoff team, lose in the first game, and then be like, we're a quarterback away. When are you going to stop being a quarterback away? If you're the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers is 42 years old. He's not your solution, he is not your solution at the position. You guys, you drafted Will Howard in the 6th round and re-signed Mason Rudolph. Okay, those are not long-term solutions. Will Howard was already 23 going into this past college season, so he's already up there in age. Mason Rudolph has already been there for a while too. And I think it was good though that they moved on from George Pickens. I think he was very toxic for this team. I don't think he was built for Pittsburgh and the toughness that the city and the fans give them. Losing Minkah Fitzpatrick, though, in that trade for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, I think is a big one. Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of the best safeties in all of football. I think he's also very underrated. I don't think he gets the love he fully deserves. And we'll see this year how they're able to kind of rebound without Minkah in their secondary this year. And also they lost Najee Harris. I mean, it didn't matter because you had Jaylen Warren, but still, I think having that 1-2 punch is way more efficient, especially with having an old, aging, immobile quarterback. Like, yes, Aaron Rodgers can get out of the pocket and make these out-of-pocket throws, but do I see him being able to have a lot of run plays and be dependent on the legs? No, I don't. I don't see him being able to be that dominant on the ground as he was when he was younger. And that's where I'm kind of at right now with this team. It's a lot of who knows. Because the only thing that you know about the Steelers is they're not going to be under 500. You know that with Mike Tomlin. But they're just going to be good enough to get a okay draft pick where you can kind of get someone who's good but not great. And you're going to be a borderline playoff team. Maybe make a wild card and lose in the first round because that's just what Mike Tomlin has been doing over the past few years. We'll see if they break that curse this year, but they're going to be over 500. If you are a gambler, I would bet over 500 because that's just what is going to happen with them. Now, last but not least, I think it needs to be the Cincinnati Bengals. for obvious reasons. You didn't make any big additions. You were in the headlines. You still haven't signed Trey Hendrickson, who led the league in sacks last year. Your big deal this whole offseason was the fact that you couldn't sign your first-round pick until about a week ago. And you haven't helped Joe Burrow. You haven't built this O-line up. I don't understand what they're doing. You have an MVP at quarterback. Joe Burrow should have been the MVP of the NFL last year. And if you guys don't believe me, I will pop up a picture of the stats right here. Look at the stats compared to Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. Joe Burrow was the MVP of the league last year, and you guys wasted that because your defense was terrible. And you didn't make any big defensive additions other than in the draft. And those are a lot of unproven guys. You didn't try and sign anyone great. So what are you doing? You lost one of your best linebackers to retirement. I don't understand what the Bengals are doing. I think they could go anywhere from 12-5 to 9-8 like they were last year, or 8-9. This team is so up and down. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't understand how you didn't make any huge additions on the defensive side of the ball for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow put your offense, you re-signed Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. That's great. But having a great offense and a terrible defense does not do you any good. And we saw that this past season. I don't understand what the Bengals think they're doing here. You need to have a solid defense if you want to make it back to the Super Bowl and win it this time with Joe Burrow, or else you're wasting an MVP player. He is playing the best football of his career, and his franchise seems like they want him to not succeed. And I don't understand that if I'm a Bengals fan. So hopefully the Bengals can add a defensive piece and re-sign Trey Hendrickson before this dude leaves you guys. Because Trey Hendrickson was the only thing that was holding this team together on the defensive side of the ball. And even then, he couldn't do that because they lost a lot because of the defense. But guys, that's all I have for today's episode of The John, your daily sports sum, where we plunge into the sports world. I give you guys my predictions for the AFC North. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for sports updates and hot takes in real time. And if you're looking for even more sports talk, check out the Sports Syllabus show, where my partner and I tackle the hottest topics in college sports and beyond. It's a two-ply discussion. Strong, reliable, and always ready to clean up the messy takes in college sports. Join me next time on The John, your daily sports sump, where we'll be going butt jousting with fierce sports debates. Until then, keep game face on and stay regular. This is The John.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Somebody open the window.